It's an underground menace that threatens the health of tens of thousands of New Mexicans. Rivers of toxic chemicals polluting our groundwater. How did this happen? News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker digs into New Mexico's danger zones.
They are New Mexico danger zones. Mishaps, hidden, toxic, literally underground rivers of poison. Here,
in terms of environmental time bombs, are we standing at ground zero?
We are.
Scare the hell out of you?
Yeah.
here,
The people who live in this neighborhood are living on top of groundwater contaminated with a known carcinogen.
Correct.
and here,
The world didn't understand how horrible this contaminant really could be.
How horrible is it?
It's horrible.
as a danger zone, the rugged foothills east of Espanola are unique.
Just standing here, you wouldn't know about the dangers lurking in these rocks. This equipment gives it away. We're at ground zero of a public health menace that affects the lives of tens of thousands of people.
Like Anita Roybal, Anita lives in a danger zone. The water she drinks may be contaminated with uranium. No, not the stuff from Los Alamos. This uranium occurs naturally. Dennis McQuillan is the State Environment Department's chief scientist.
So the instrument is off scale with the gamma counts, and it's because this orange sandstone here is impregnated with uranium.
Here in the Espanola Basin, uranium leaches out of the rock and seeps into the groundwater. Thousands of people are impacted in the 80 square mile danger zone.
Most of the people over here in that area are served by private domestic wells. Half of them have dangerous levels of uranium.
Anyone who drinks water laced with uranium is at risk.
The primary risk of uranium in drinking water is kidney toxicity. Uranium is far more dangerous as a heavy metal and a kidney poison than it is as a radioactive element.
This environmental threat was created by Mother Nature. However, you'll find the culprit responsible for this Albuquerque danger zone lurking at 12th and Aspen. The offender, Lawn Dry, a dry cleaning supply company.
Decades ago, tons of toxic solvents spilled from this site and seeped into the shallow groundwater, contaminating the aquifer in the Wells Park and Sawmill neighborhoods.
Just below the surface, a poisonous plume of chemicals stretches in a narrow band a mile and a half east from 12th Street to Edith.
This is a very serious groundwater contamination site.
Michelle Hunter heads up New Mexico's Groundwater Quality Bureau.
I think the people who live here are alarmed and they are concerned. I'm concerned.
Even though this chemical spill has not yet threatened the city's drinking water, this toxic plume must be cleaned up.
Who's picking up the tab for this cleanup?
Lawn Dry has to pay for everything. They pay for all drilling of all the monitoring wells and their consultants, and they pay for all the groundwater testing.
Lawn Dry is not the only Albuquerque offender. Stroll along Benton Street in this quiet northwest neighborhood, and the only evidence of a major industrial mishap is at 9917 Benton Street. Now, this may look like a typical Albuquerque home, but nobody lives here. You see, inside is a sophisticated groundwater treatment plant. And over the past 17 years, the plant has removed 8 tons of cancer-causing chemicals from the groundwater.
This is just one of many areas around the state where people live on top of contaminated groundwater.
Hundreds of homeowners in Albuquerque's Paradise Hills are impacted. A vast plume of cancer-causing chemicals dumped years ago has reached the aquifer. The groundwater here is contaminated with trichloroethylene, a known carcinogen. The offender? An electronics manufacturing company called Spartan Technology. Spartan operated for 30 years at a site off of Coors and shut down in 1999.
Spartan manufactured printed circuit boards and other electrical equipment, and they used TCE to degrease some of the products they made. It was discharged on site into the soil, seeped into the groundwater, and created a contamination plume half a mile long.
The chemical-laced plume is not yet endangered city drinking water.
Spartan was ordered to pay for the cleanup, a process that began nearly 2 decades ago, and it will likely be another 10 to 20 years before the groundwater in this neighborhood is free from toxic contamination.
In the village of Vegeta, it was the negligent use of fertilizer that threatens the health of hundreds of New Mexicans, like Olivia Camacho.
My stomach was feeling badly when I drank the water from the faucet.
We're very concerned about the people and the drinking water in Vegeta.
This rural Socorro County community is a danger zone where many of the private wells are dangerously polluted.
Many years ago, there was a vegetable farm in Vegeta, and over-fertilization for many years created groundwater contamination that moved into this neighborhood that's there now.
How big of a deal is that?
Oh, it's a very big deal. These people have contaminated groundwater and they are drinking. It's in their groundwater wells.
Because the farmer who caused this mess disappeared years ago, there is no one around to clean it up. The only solution for Olivia Camacho and her neighbors? Bottled water. But not all of New Mexico's danger zones are linked to the misdeeds of private landowners. The underground environmental disaster here in Roswell is courtesy of the U.S. government.
Today, this former military installation is home to an airplane graveyard and the Roswell Airport. But when the Air Force abandoned this property in 1967, it left behind an environmental disaster. And now, some 50 years later, they're still squabbling over who's going to pay for the cleanup.
They degreased engine parts and cleaned airplanes using a chemical that we know is really bad, and it soaked into the ground and it contaminated the groundwater beneath the site.
How bad is the contamination here?
It's significant.
Below the surface of the old Walker Air Force Base, a river of cancer-causing toxic waste has polluted the groundwater. The highest concentrations have been identified here, here, and here. Everyone agrees these poisonous plumes must be cleaned up. However, the city of Roswell and the federal government have been arguing for 25 years about who's going to pay for it. Lawyer Pete Domenici Jr. represents Roswell.
As the city of Roswell, we want to protect the taxpayers. We don't want to take money away from another project to clean up the United States government's mess. We want to assure that this is a safe site, and we want to get the money from the United States.
Is it a little disconcerting to know that this is a major contamination site and nobody's started cleaning it up?
You bet it is.
As city and federal officials bicker over the cleanup price tag, it's taxpayers who will ultimately be on the hook for this multi-million-dollar danger zone. Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.